Hi, Mrs. Ratcliffe here, and I'm talking to you today about decimals. Okay, so the thing is with decimals, they are smaller than whole numbers. So, just important to remember that when we look at decimals, we're talking about things like 0.012. It's smaller than 1. In that instance, decimal numbers get the smaller the farther that they are away from the decimal point, and by that we mean to the right. So the farther you travel to the right, the smaller the decimal points get. So for example, 0.1 is greater than 0.01, which is greater than 0.001, which is greater than 0.001, and so on. Okay, easy enough? Now, zeros are very important to fractions, to decimals. Zeros are really important because they act like placeholders. So, for example, if I've got something like this, 0.000125, those 3 zeros there are actually holding the place value for the number so that you know exactly how far away it is from the decimal. Okay, here's another example, 0.000137. It's holding that place. Okay, it's not equivalent to 0.137. So it's quite important to keep those zeros where they belong. Okay, after the numerals, they're optional. So for example, any zeros following that, if it just was zeros, they're just optional. Those are called trailing zeros. They're not really that important, and you can leave them off. Okay? All right. As I said before, decimal numbers are smaller than whole numbers. And what that means for us is it means that they have an equivalent fraction. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you for a moment or two about how to convert a fraction into a decimal. There's a couple of different methods. One way is to just simply divide the top number by the bottom number. So I don't know how well you can see that here, but I've got 1/2. So 1/2 becomes 1 divided by 2. So let's do our 2 there. We've put the decimal point, so that's 1.0. We've put the 2 in. The 2 won't go into 1, but it will go into 10. So you bring the decimal point up, and you've got, it will go into 10 5 times. So 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5. Okay? That's one method. I'm going to just show you another method. An alternative method to turn a fraction into a decimal. You just turn the denominator into 100, or in this instance you could do 10, and then you've got your answer. So for example, let's do 1/2 to 10. What do we have to multiply 1/2 by to get 10 on the bottom here? I hear you saying 5. We have to multiply 2 times 5 on the bottom. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So, same again, and that gives us 5/10. Okay? 5/10 can be written as a decimal like this, 0.5. Okay, there we go. You could do the same thing with 100 if you had a larger number, and you would get 0.50. It's the same. Okay. Now, if you've got a decimal and you want to convert it to a fraction, what do? You can put it over its decimal, then reduce it and simplify it. And what do I mean by that? What do you mean put it over its decimal? What I mean is, if you've got 0.4, the way you would read that is 4/10. 4/10. So that makes it really easy. If you got 4/10, you just put the 4 over the 10, okay? And then you can simplify. So 4/10 can be simplified. It can be turned into 2/5, for example. And now we've got an equivalent fraction. 0.4 is equivalent to 2/5. Okay? If you had something, say, like 0.75, another way to say that is 75 hundredths. Okay, so 75 hundredths is giving you the clue right there. You put it over 100. Then you can just reduce. Now, obviously, the highest common factor for this is 25. So let's divide them all by 25. Divide the top number by 25. Divide the bottom number by 25. And we get 3/4. So 0.75 is an equivalent to 3/4 as a fraction. Okay, try a few of these at home. Good luck.